How's everyone feeling? Yeah, it feels extra emotional in here tonight. Hopefully I can undo that by getting super cerebral here. Okay, so if you've never been to Alchemist Theater before, why is that funny? Thank you. I plant her and I pay her $5 a show to laugh. Okay, so if you've never been to Alchemist before, we pick our themes like a year and a half in advance, and then we write them out. And then each of the alchemists takes the theme as a sort of writing prompt about a month before the show. We kind of look around at our lives, we see what's going on in our life, and then we take that as the message from Spirit to bring to you to hopefully inspire and hit on something you're going through in your life. And so when we picked the grind, I definitely thought, okay, it's going to be about the grind, the 9 to 5, that whole thing. But tonight I'm going rogue.
Never.
It's not... What do you mean? So our show is not going to be as cohesive as it normally is because I'm totally going on the outlier tonight. So I was complaining about something in my life, about someone, and I said, this was a couple weeks ago, I said, oh, they really grind my gears. And I was like, oh, grind. So that's the direction I'm heading in tonight. And put on my jacket because I have a PowerPoint presentation. This is a lecture. There will be a test. The test is called Life. Get ready. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be talking about a subject I'm super passionate about. It's called the shadow. The shadow. The shadow. Okay, raise your hand if you know what the shadow is. Okay, okay, all right. So it's a spiritual concept as well as a psychological concept made famous by Carl Jung. He defined the shadow as the hidden or uncovered aspects of oneself, both good and bad, which one has either repressed or never recognized. So basically, there are these aspects that we judge as bad, whether they are or not. And because we judge them as bad, and we were taught to not be bad, we shove them away and we deny them in ourselves. So we either pretend we don't have them, or at least we have disassociated from them and they get buried. They don't go away though, because energy does not just go away. It gets buried in our subconscious mind. Now, here's the thing. It ends up showing up in our life because it doesn't go away, we bury it, and then here's what happens. It shows up in our life because we project it onto other people. Yes. So when we're not projecting our shadow onto innocent other people who don't actually have those qualities, but we're seeing that they do, if that's not happening, the other option is we're actually manifesting people with actually those qualities in our life. And you know how we know it? Because we hate them. Linda from accounting, she drives me crazy. That was just a random example. We hate them, we despise them, they annoy us, they agitate us, they grind our gears. They are our shadow. And they have simply manifested in our lives to show us the piece of ourselves that we either currently are on some level, but deny it, have been at some point in our lives, or fear on some level that we may be. And this is why it's a spiritual concept, because ultimately we belong to the infinite, so we are all infinite. There's a holographic universe in all of us. We all contain the qualities to be everything. And when we judge something as bad, we separate it from ourselves, we create separation, and then that shadow shows up to say, hey, you've got some integrating to do. So, think about someone that bothers you. So-and-so is such a victim, ugh. All they do is complain all the time and bring everyone down. That is you repressing your own victim nature. And the ironic thing is whoever you're complaining to in that moment about someone else complaining is thinking that about you. Tricky shadow. All right, so now the question becomes, okay, Jess, all right, my shadow is a thing that I need to integrate with in order to become whole. How do I do that? It's something I like to call becoming a detective in Trigger City. Film noir music. Perfect. Okay, that's good. All right, so to find your shadow, like Peter Pan, see, Peter Pan was a shaman because he was always looking for his shadow. In order to find your shadow, you have to begin to look at who and what triggers you. Because if you were integrated with your shadow when someone was acting like a victim, it wouldn't bother you. You would just see it and allow it to be what it was. So it's the fact that it triggers you that means you have shadow work to do around it. So now this brings me to the Work of Byron Katie. It's actually called The Work. You may have heard of it. I don't know if Byron Katie knew she was talking about shadow work when she invented the work, but that's what it is. So Byron Katie has this thing called The Work, and she has a worksheet called the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, where she actually encourages you to judge your neighbor, to take whoever's bothering you and judge the crap out of them. And on step 5 is particularly the step that I find very shadowy. Whoever's bothering you, she asks you to get as petty and judgmental as possible, to actually feed this side of yourself, and to make a list of who they are. My ex-boyfriend is manipulative and a liar and a cheater, okay? Then she asks you to turn it around on yourself. This is where the integration of the shadow comes in. And again, she doesn't call it that, but that's totally what it is. So then Byron Katie would say, okay, so now tell me how you are a liar and a cheater and a manipulator. And if you really want to do the deepest healing work there is to do on the planet, and something I believe that as alchemists we are all called to do, you gotta dig deep. Digging deep is when you fight against the initial ego's response to go, I am not a cheater, I am the most loyal, faithful, romantic partner ever. Just like the subconscious mind doesn't know time, it also doesn't know details. So you may not be a cheater in your romantic relationships, but you might be a cheater on diets, on deadlines, on timelines. And some part of your unconscious self has the belief, I'm a cheater. And then it shows up in your life. And it bothers you to show you the piece of yourself you have denied. So, now that I have given you, you're welcome, and I'm sorry, the tools. Looking at your shadow is painful. If you read any Carl Jung, all he talks about is how painful shadow work is, because when you initially look into that darkness, it hurts at first, then it gets easier. So now I'm sure you're wondering, so then that's it, right? The awareness is all you need? Like, okay, I see that this person is triggering me. I know that they're my shadow, so now it will just go away, right? Wrong! Now you have to do the work to integrate it. So, here's how you do it. But first, before I give you the keys, I have to tell you about a meme that I hate, because clearly I have shadow work to do around it. It goes viral on social media a lot, and it's not correct. So, you've probably seen this before. We all have two wolves inside of ourselves. One is good, and one is evil. Well, which wolf wins? The one you feed. Ooh, deep. This is perpetuating a lie. Okay, because here's the thing. We all have two wolves in ourselves. One is good, one is evil. That's what makes us human. That is the fall from Eden, my friends. We ate from the tree of knowledge, and now here we are in duality. We all have two wolves inside of ourselves. If you starve one wolf, what is it going to do? That is just next level deep there. He said eat the other one. Maybe. Then we just hop dimensions and we're not even here anymore. Okay. No, it's going to get angry. It's going to get hangry. And it's going to start showing up in your life worse than if it wasn't hungry. So this is a concept I've been working on for the last year, is how can I feed my other wolf without actually affecting my life in a bad way? Because I don't want to actually be evil or to actually exercise my dark aspects that I see showing up in other people. For me, that's controlling, manipulation, just stabbing with my words. That's kind of my dark side that I'm looking at, that I see in other people show up. I don't want to be that person. So what we have to do is we have to feed the wolf symbolically. So here's my thesis, and this is why I put the jacket on, you guys, because this is some TED Talk right here. Okay, this is it. All right, here's my thesis. If we make art with our shadows, we won't have to live them. Yes. Art and ceremony. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between imagination and reality. And so if we can learn to get comfortable with honoring our darkness that shows up in our life in the form of that which bothers us and other people, and we can channel it into art and ceremony, we can symbolically feed that other wolf. And then that shadow will stop projecting into our lives. Can I get an amen? Right. And I actually was really inspired by this book called Owning Your Own Shadow by Robert Johnson. And he talks about, especially a lot of the modern religions emphasize too much of the light and they ignore the darkness. And I'm a huge New Thought follower and I love the New Thought religion, but I do think that is a huge piece that if we only focus on the light, we're gonna make that dark wolf hungry and he's gonna strike and we're gonna be in imbalance. And I know this is a problem because if you look at our world right now, culturally, we are projecting some of the darkest shadow in history right now, collectively. And it is right in our face. And that wolf is like, I am hungry. And we are like, hey, we're alchemists, we will feed you. So there's a really cool concept called curanderos from that book. And so the curanderos is a form of ceremony that honors the mandorla, which is when you put, it's like the mandorla is the middle piece of a Venn diagram, where two sides interact. And it's in this healing ceremony, which is part of a South American tradition. When they're when shaman priests are working on healing someone, they put knives and weapons and things on the left side of the mandorla. And on the right, they put all of the things that represent lightness. And then they stand in the middle, and that's where the healing happens. I know, so delicious. I'm totally metaphysical nerding out right now. So, this is my thesis. This is what I'm going to be working on as an alchemist out in the world. This is what I wanted to bring to you tonight, because just a little seed of this can change your whole life, because you're going to start to see it. Now, the problem is, you can't run away from it now. You can, but it's only going to make your wolf hungrier. So don't worry, I got you. I got the anecdote. Because in October, I'm doing my first ever shadow workshop. Yeah, that was what I was going for. Ooh. We're going to feed both wolves. Isn't that a cool tagline? Feed both wolves. And we're going to do it through art, we're going to do it through ceremony, and we're going to do it through play. And it is going to be amazing. And we're going to do it for both our personal lives and the world. Because my ceremonies lately have been so devoted to things showing up in our life and not as focused on what we can be doing for the world. So I'm going to start integrating light and dark, and I'm going to start integrating personal and cultural. So if you're not on our email list, please sign up for that, because it's going to be spaces limited and I am going full alchemist on you guys. All right, so I'm going to leave you with a meme that totally nails it. When you've healed past traumas and merged with your shadow self and don't hide from the world no more, that is what you will walk out of the workshop looking like. Yay! Okay, so thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now we're going to do a part of the show called Alchemy. So